The Gewehr 3, more commonly known as, and abbreviated to, the G3, is a 2-star AR that's available from light construction at a time of 2 hours and 50 minutes, and from multiple stages drops from stage 2-3 onwards. The G3's development, or at least the predecessor that the G3 is mainly based on, began in the final years of World War II, as the Light Weapon Development Group designed the machine carbine device 06 prototype AR, chambered in the 7.92 by 33 Kurs cartridge. This prototype was developed into the Garot 06H and was assigned the STG-45M name. However, they weren't put into full production as the war soon ended. Those who worked on the STG-45 were taken to France, where they would work at the Mulhouse Research and Armament Center, CEAM, where Ludwig Vorgrimmer and Theodor Lofer would produce 3 versions of the STG-45M mechanism between 1946 and 49, in 30 carbine, 7.92 Kurs, and 7.65 French short. The adoption of these set-me rifles was cancelled due to France's involvement in the Indochina War and the drain on funds it had. Vorgrimmer moved to Spain in 1950 and created the LV-50 rifle in 7.92 Kurz, and later 7.92 by 40mm set-me M53 cartridge, with the STG-45M now being named the Modelo II. This new rifle drew the attention of the West German Border Guard, who looked to re-equip their new National Defense Force, specifically with a rifle that fired the new 7.62 by 51mm NATO cartridge. Heckler & Koch gave their input on the development of the rifle, such as giving it the ability to fire from a closed bolt in semi and automatic fire modes, a sheet metal handguard, better ergonomics, a longer barrel, and a 22mm rifle grenade launcher. The West German Border Guard never ended up adopting the Spanish rifle, instead opting for the FN-FAL. However, the West German Army was now interested in the set-me rifle, and bought some for further testing. The set-me, now known as the G3, was testing against the SIG SG-510 and the AR-10 to replace the G1. By 1959, after multiple modifications from H&K, the West German Army was ready to adopt the G3, but only if they could produce it under license in Germany after FN refused to grant a license previously. This proved to be a challenge, since the Dutch Netherlands Weapons and Manufacturing, NWM, held the rights for producing and selling set-me rifles outside of Spain. The West Germans offered contracts to supply the German Air Force with 20mm to the NWM, which they accepted. Production of the G3 was then assigned to Rheinmetall and H&K, with Rheinmetall handing over production rights to H&K in exchange for H&K's promise to not bid on the MG3 production. Later in 1977, the West German government completely handed ownership over to H&K. Over the years, multiple variants of the G3 were produced, both by H&K and by other manufacturers, as it had been licensed out extensively, as well as serving as the base for other rifles, such as the PSG-1 and MSG-90 DMRs, the HK-11 and HK-21 LMGs, and the HK-41 and SR-9 for the civilian market, as well as the MP5 for SMGs, the HK-33, and the G41 for assault rifles, as the G3, despite how much I hate the term, is now considered a battle rifle. The original G3 had wooden furniture, specifically the stock and handguard. The A1 variant had a single-position retractable stock. The A2 introduced the rear rotating drum sight and a free-floating barrel to improve accuracy. The A3, the most well-known variant of the G3, added a muzzle brake that was capable of firing rifle grenades, and a fixed, solid plastic buttstock and handguard. The A3A1 had an ambidextrous trigger group and brass deflector. The A4 had a retractable stock. The KA4, with the K standing for carbine, uses the HK-33 handguard and a shorter barrel and retractable buttstock. They also came with multiple attachments, such as the 40mm HK79 UGL, a Hensoldt Faro Z24 4x24 sight, bipods, longer or shorter barrels, different grips, handguards, buttstocks, and sizes of magazine. The G3 is a roller-delayed blowback select fire assault rifle, which fires the 7.62 by 51mm NATO cartridge from a 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 100 round detachable box or drum magazine at a fire rate of 5 to 600 rounds per minute out to a range of 1,000 meters, though it could be further or shorter depending on the barrel length and attachments. Inner base character art drawn by PHI, G3 wears a black corset with brass buttons and 2 red stripes, on top of a black dress which itself has a red stripe at the top, a black crop top coat with shoulder rank patches, a tall collar with a strap, and red finger gloves, a necklace with a crucifix on it, 2 hair accessories, a leather satchel around her waist with belt and Maltese cross, some red ribbons around her upper right thigh, a leather belt around her mid-left thigh, and black boots with red stripes. She holds 3 bullets in her left hand which look to be steel-cased between her fingers, and her G3, specifically a G3A3, in her right hand. She has her finger off the trigger, though the rifle itself is set to semi-automatic, and is loaded with what seems to be a 20-round magazine. In her voice lines voiced by Yoshioka Kaori, who also voices Portland and Azure Lane, G3 has low self-confidence.
今回の私、皆さんを手助けできてます?よかった。指揮官さん、私がどんな姿になっても選んでくださるというのですね。では、ずっとおそばにいさせてください。あなたのお声を聞きながら、これからも成長していきます。自信がないと言いますか、なんかよくわからないです。あ、いえ、何も。もっと、皆さんのお役に立ちたいです。
Like some ARs, G3's main role is launching a grenade to deal with large groups of tightly packed enemies. Her singular tile buffs one SMG, buffing their accuracy by plus 50% and rate of fire by plus 20%. She's best positioned on tiles 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, but can be placed on tiles 1, 2, and 3 if you don't mind losing her singular tile. If you do, you're not missing out on much. At level 10, G3's first skill, Anti-Personnel Grenade, has G3 launch a grenade that deals 10 times damage to enemies within a radius of 1.5 units. This has a 8-second ICD and 16-second NCD. Without equipment or crits, this does 550 damage. With crits, it does 825 damage. When fully linked, enhanced, and at level 100, G3 has 110 HP per link for a total of 550, consumes 60 ammo and rations, deals 55 damage, has 38 evasion, 46 accuracy, 61 rate of fire, 10 move speed, a 20% crit rate, and deals 150% damage on a crit. Base G3 is able to equip telescopic sights, hollow sights, red dot sights, night vision, suppressors, high velocity ammo, microchips, and exoskeletons. The recommended equipment for G3 is a 5-star scope, 5-star HV ammo, and 5-star light exoskeleton. This gives her plus 20 damage, plus 20 evasion, and plus 48% crit rate. This brings her stats to 75 damage, 58 evasion, and 68% crit rate. Her skill now does 750 damage without crits, and 1125 with crits. To fully mod G3, she will need 2000 memfrags and 60 cores, as well as needing to be at 100 affection for all mod levels, and level 100 for mod 1, 110 for mod 2, and 115 for mod 3. This takes roughly 10.5 days or 1 week and 3.5 days of grinding for the advanced sim memfrags, though this time can be shorter if there is a rate up, and her rarity goes to 4 stars when modded. In her mod art, still drawn by PHI, G3's outfit is the exact same as before, just with some minor adjustments and additions. She wears the same dress as before, but now has a white cape with iron cross and gold rope at the top, and the interior of the cape is a gradient from red to a purple night sky. She has some sort of tactical headphones now, the top of her jacket is done up, her finger gloves are more apparent, she has a blue pinstriped shirt underneath her jacket, the leather belt on her thigh now has one magazine on it, and she switched out her boots for shoes and thigh highs. When fully modded, G3 gains one extra tile in front of her, now buffing SMG's accuracy by plus 55% and rate of fire by plus 25%. Her stats increase to 113 HP per link for a total of 565, dealing 58 damage, having 40 evasion, 55 accuracy, and 64 rate of fire. Her S1, anti-personnel grenade, now deals 12 times damage to enemies in a 1.5 unit radius. Without equipment or crits, her skill does 696 damage, while doing 1044 damage with crits. At level 10, G3's second skill, the Freezing Point of Courage, when G3 launches her anti-personnel grenade, one of two effects occur depending on how much HP the targets have. If her targets have over 50% HP, she stuns them for 1.6 seconds. If they are under 50% HP, her grenade will deal an extra 4 times damage. When her targets are under 50% HP, her grenade does 928 damage without crits or equips, or 1392 with crits. I may be wrong on my calculations, but I don't believe it multiplies the damage after the first multiplier, but rather with it. Because doing roughly 2800 damage for a modded 4-star that no one uses, pretty high up there. The spec that G3 gets for reaching mod 3 is the G3 Improved Barrel Group, which, when at max calibration and enhancement, gives plus 8 damage and plus 48% crit rate. The recommended equipment for modded G3 is her spec, the G3 Improved Barrel Group, 5-star HV ammo, and a 5-star light exoskeleton. This gives her plus 24 damage, plus 20 evasion, and plus 48% crit rate. This brings her stats to 82 damage, 60 evasion, and 68% crit rate. Her S1/2 now does 1312 damage without crits, and 1968 damage with crits. I'm going to be curt and straight to the point. There are minimal good points about G3 and her mod. The only benefits that her base and mod have is that her damage is high for a Grenadier, she's easily available, and her mod is cheap. Literally nothing else about her is good, because not only are Grenadiers a niche for ARs, but all 2-star ARs suck. To begin with her list of detriments, her rate of fire is one of the worst of the ARs, while other, better Grenadiers, such as 416, have 78 compared to her 61. Her tiles and her buffs suck, even after modding, where she gets one additional tile in front of her. The stun she gets from her second skill has a shorter duration than any standard stun grenade skill, and the only way you'll get that extra 4 times damage is if the enemy is below 50% HP, and they'd probably be dead before she launches her grenade anyways. If you want a Grenadier, you'll most likely be using Crap Mod 2, HK416, and their mods, and FAL. G3 is a hard pass on raising and modding, unless you're starting out, but even then, replace her ASAP. Also, I have such an intense hatred for Ludwig Vorgrilmer for creating the roller-delayed blowback system. It is a god-awful system that wastes brass by chomping it, and is just the worst action I have ever fired. So not only is the G3 in-game terrible, it's also terrible in practical, real-world circumstances. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter for updates, and please check out my other Azure Lane and Arknights videos as well.